Can I see my shirt? YouTube. Can I see my shirt? I got lots of shit to say. I got lots of shit to say. Ooh. Yeah, you gotta get these kinds. It's much easier. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to this podcast where we do little reviews. Today, we're going to talk about 8th grade since it came out today, and this is going to be full of spoilers. And I've got a little guest on today. We got Lee Brockway.
Hey, how's it going?
And we actually saw the movie together early about 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
right?
it was last Thursday, I think. Or no, two
Thursdays ago.
2 Thursdays ago. So
Yeah, so
we got
it's
to sit and marinate on it.
yeah, and it's not as like fresh as maybe I would like it to be, but
Yeah, I do plan on seeing it again.
yeah,
Which is
but
a testament to how good it is.
But I feel like I have stuff to say about it, so
for sure.
so we can do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so basically the movie's about a girl who's in her last week of 8th grade, and is transitioning to high school, and sort of like the stuff she goes through in the sense of like building her identity and like just being different going into high school than she was in middle school. And that sounds like kind of like a dull plot, I guess, but it's like really detailed and really, I want to say like visceral and real, kind of.
Yeah. What I think is kind of special about the plot is, as you mentioned, it's not horribly cinematic. Like everybody listening to this has probably gone past 8th grade and like gone into high school. It's an experience everybody goes through, but it's kind of interesting, and I think it's neat that the like non-cinematic idea of it is what makes the movie interesting, because it plays to the weird feelings of like whether it be anxiety or awkwardness, and I think that's where the movie is like really special.
And yeah, I like that you brought up feelings, because the main thing I think that happened with this movie was that it like it made me feel things. Like I felt like the pain that this girl was going through, and I felt like, oh man, I'm so glad I'm not in that life right now. That was like the biggest thing that it did, was make me like feel things.
Well, the whole time we were watching this, there would just be moments where like someone does something like that just makes you cringe, whether it be the teacher saying lit or dabbing or stuff like that. Like I have never seen the idea of that portrayed as well. And it honestly makes you go, if you're seeing it with a friend, just like, oh my God, I felt that throughout high school or felt that throughout middle school. It does a really good job with that. Like, I wouldn't say cringe humor, just, I mean, it is funny, but just, it's pretty spot on to how it feels to grow up in this generation, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think like the main thing there is like the disconnect between that younger generation and the older generation, and the fact that the older generation like really wants to connect with them.
Yeah.
And like so they try to like say buzzwords and shit that are like that fit into what like they say, and they think that's what connecting is.
Yeah.
And we'll get into this a bit later, but I think that the movie actually ends up like going in the right direction of like what that connection should be like.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the actors really quick. I want to pull up some names because I don't know everyone's.
They're all unknowns, right? There's no like...
Yeah, there's no one like particularly famous in it.
Yeah.
I think
Fisher is the lead. And I think she was just open casted, right?
Yeah. It was like they cast real 8th graders.
Yeah.
So she actually was in 8th grade when the movie was made.
No Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, and I think the guy who played the dad, Josh Hamilton, I think I've seen him in something.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up the IMDb real quick here.
Yeah. I'm not sure what I've seen him in. I guess he's in the Bourne Identity. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But yeah, I thought he was pretty great. I thoroughly enjoyed every scene that he was in. He's in 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah. I haven't really watched his
I
stuff, I
haven't
guess,
watched it
but
either.
I knew the face, so that's good.
But yeah, so like, and then like, there's not really a lot of like, main characters. It's pretty much mostly about this girl. So like, it's kind of weird to talk about that, but like those,
Yeah,
I did think the dad was like a
yeah. I do want to give
standout performance.
my boy Gabe some credits. Uh,
Oh yeah,
he's
that
played by
kid who
Jake
played.
Ryan, and he's a nice kid, you know.
Yeah, he was really funny.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess we literally didn't mention this because I guess we just assumed everyone knows, but it's directed by Bo Burnham,
Oh yeah.
and
God.
I'm a big fan of Bo, and I was pretty excited about this for that reason. And he wrote and directed it. And actually, I thought that was something that was really interesting because he's like a 28-year-old man, and he's writing this movie from the perspective of like a what, like 13-year-old girl.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I mentioned, it's really spot on to like how it feels, and I was really impressed with the way he manages uh to portray this environment, even though he's 15 years removed from it.
Yeah, and I think that his voice is like there. Like I feel like there were times where I was like, "Oh, that's like Bo's voice,"
Oh yeah, yeah,
but it is like well masked from this like eighth grader's perspective. Like she does these like little YouTube videos where she gives like advice and nobody watches them. They get like 2 views, but she's like doing it, like
yeah,
anyway, and she's acting like people are watching them just to
yeah,
keep that up, like what anyone on the internet does. And I thought that was like when Bo's voice mostly came out. But I think that that is also like from Bo's, like origins, because like he like came up on YouTube, so he definitely knows what that feels like,
yeah.
and that's what sort of like inspires the representation of the internet in the movie, which Bo has spoken at lengths about how he wanted the internet to be a character, and I felt like
Mhm.
it was so organic when I watched it. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, what I think this movie does a great job of, I can't really think of any other movie doing, is using social media as, well, like you mentioned, a character, but just like the representation of it and like how it's used by the characters. I think is spot on. Like we're talking spoilers, right?
Yeah, spoilers are
Okay, so
all
like
good.
when she's like looking up like sex things on WikiHow, I'm like that's just something that every teenager I think in this generation has done some equivalent to, just like looking up questions they're like too afraid to ask or whatever online. Just I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, and like the fact that she's like sort of hiding it from her parents or
Yeah.
parent too. Like when she, that scene where she like gets the banana,
Oh yeah.
and then her dad's like really trying to like connect with her on that. He's like, "Hey, I thought you didn't like bananas." And then she's like, "No, I love them." And then she eats it, but she hates it, so she like throws it at him.
Yeah.
And that's like, and then he's just like, "Wait, like I remember the line cuz he says that he wrote it down in his phone so that he could remember." And you're like seeing this dad like really try, and she's just like, it's just not working, and then you just feel so bad for him. I think that was what I was saying. Like it's really funny to see that, like he's just really trying to like understand his kid, and he's doing his best, but she's just not having it because like she's
Yeah.
a teenager, she's like
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
middle school.
It felt almost like American Pie esque. Like just
Oh yeah, kind of like
yeah.
that, but like. That's the thing, like,
But
what?
the
That's actually a
context is
good
different.
comparison. It's just, like, not over the top. Because American Pie is,
Yeah.
like, over the top.
Oh, absolutely.
It's, like, very real in comparison.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that that's why, like, having the lead be, like, a 13-year-old girl is better. Because, like, if it's a guy, like, an American Pie, it's gonna, like, be over the top from his perspective, too.
Yeah.
So, like, then that just, like, changes it. But this is, like, really grounded.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to touch on with that is also like the movie's rated R, but like we're talking about it, everyone's talking about it, that it's like really accurate.
Yeah, I
So,
feel like everybody should see it in some fashion. I don't know if it's like necessarily a family movie, but
oh no,
and I feel like it's important for high schoolers to go see this. So if you're a high schooler listening, sneak in if you can, or if you have an ID, go for it. But I
yeah,
think
yeah,
I think it's a great like modern coming of age movie because there aren't as many of those now as there were. I wouldn't say it's like it's not even John Hughesy. It's just kind of its own story about just odd emotions, and I think that's where it hits the nail on the head. If you will. Just,
Yeah, and I think the John Hughes comparison's like appropriate. It's just like I think it's like one step ahead because even those are
yeah,
a little bit like movies, whereas this was I just felt like it was like a
yeah,
mirror,
yeah. This
into
feels
another
really grounded,
reality.
which is great. Um, there's nothing really absurd that goes on. Really, like you don't have to suspend much disbelief, which is cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's very real. I like want to hammer that point home because
Yeah,
honestly, like I don't even know if I could like I want to watch it again, but I also kind of don't because of like how much it like affected me to my core.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, but yeah, like middle schoolers can't even go like watch this movie. But the fact of the matter is, this is their lives, and
yeah.
like if you're like a parent, maybe you should watch it just so that you can like get an idea
Well, the
and
idea of
an
like
understanding.
time capsules is kind of carried throughout the movie, right? So she has the one she makes in sixth grade open in eighth grade, and then spoilers. But the movie ends with her making one for high school. I almost think this movie might work well for that, where because you're a senior in college, I'm a freshman in college, and just the idea of using this movie to like look back on what those times were, especially for this generation, that might almost be perfect for it. Like if you
Yeah, it's
take like
almost
an
like
eighth grader now who will turn 17 in 4 years, I don't know, and then they go see this, like that seems really spot
oh, I
on.
see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, like the
Yeah,
movie's kind of like its own time capsule.
yeah,
Yeah, that
because
makes sense.
I'm really curious to see how this ages, because our generation, Bo Burnham is very much a comedian for our generation. If you look at Make Happy, yeah, especially Make Happy, just the ending of that, like those problems that he's stating isn't something other generations really have to relate to,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of that here, just kind of balancing things, and I'm interested to see how that plays out in the longevity of this movie.
I think that it'll be like good because like with John Hughes, like those movies take place in like what like the 80s, and
Yeah,
they still sort of like hold up. Like you're like, oh, that's like what it was like in the 80s. So like
yeah,
this will probably be like, oh, like in the mid like 2010s, this is what it was like to be in middle school.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah. So that's how I think it'll age. The only thing is I hope it ends up being as popular as some of those.
I'm
Like I hope
interested to
it
see how it does in the box office this weekend,
yeah, like I
because
really hope it does well. It has a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
yeah,
Like I hope it does well and like enough people see it that like you can just talk to anybody on the street about it.
I'm gonna
Like you
pull up.
can about like Ferris Bueller or something.
Yeah, I think it'll probably have legs. Like if you look at where we are in the summer right now, there isn't a whole lot of huge movies coming out.
Yeah.
Christopher Robin will probably win the weekend. Um, Mission Impossible will still hold over really well too. But I could see this making top five and then just kind of not dropping off a whole lot. I think people who know and love Bo Burnham will be following and keeping track of this because I've had multiple people ask me like, "Hey, when does this come to our town?" Which it opens nationwide today, which is great.
Yeah, that's something that uh actually I feel like it could probably get third this weekend.
Yeah,
Like I think it has
I think it's going to
enough
be
of a
racing Mamma
following.
Mia
Oh, Mamma Mia! I forgot about
because
Mamma
Mamma
Mia.
Mia has really odd like financial legs. It's strange.
Yeah, it did really well in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Over Mission
No.
Impossible, which is ridiculous.
Uh, we'll get back to eighth grade in a second, but Mamma Mia 1 has doubled the box office intake of Sola.
Really?
It
Wow.
has 609 million worldwide.
Is Mamma Mia rated PG-13?
Yeah.
Okay, that I feel like that explains it, and I'm sure like the first one has like a huge fan
Yeah,
base.
it was just
so.
some like weird sensation, and it came out in the same spot in July. So
Yeah, crazy.
what a time!
But yeah, anyway, back to the
Yeah,
back
back
to
to
the topic at hand.
Sorry, I haven't seen the new Mamma Mia, so we can't do a podcast on that one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch it either, but I haven't even seen the first one.
Yeah, I haven't either. The trailers for this one looked fun. Anyway.
Yeah, where was I on eighth grade? We were talking about it being rated R.
Yeah.
I also think that like I don't know if I want to say it's like a comedy because it is
It
funny.
it's not necessarily like laugh out loud comedy. It's just like, oh, I can relate to that, and I'm gonna. It's almost like awkward laughing. Like, ah, yeah, oh no.
Well, I thought there were a couple moments where there were like some laugh out loud
Yeah,
jokes, but overall, it's more like you're laughing at like the reality of it. You're just like, yeah,
yeah.
that's a good observation.
Yeah. I feel like if there's a word to attach to the movie, it's relatable, which
Yeah.
that's a hard sell, but it's because we go to the movies for escapism, right? That's why Star Wars is so huge. That's why Marvel is huge. So like, it's an interesting sell that just it's a not horribly cinematic um, explosions with the Rock kind of movie. It's very down to earth. There's not much absurd things happening. It's I'd say it's a character study.
Yeah.
Um, it's a character study of a teenager in this generation, which I think it does a great job at.
Speaking of the escapism thing, actually, what's funny about that is, we wrote a show. I wrote it. It's called After Class, and it's like a half hour comedy about like college students, and I
Okay.
like passed it along to a couple people, and most of them were like, "Yeah, that's really funny. That's like exactly how people talk and stuff like that." And then I sent it. One person read it and was like, "I wouldn't watch this show." And I was like, "Why? Is it bad?" And they were like, "No, it's not bad. It's just like exactly what my life is like. So I
Yeah,
don't want to watch it because then why would I not just live my life?" And I was like, "Okay, I guess that's a point to make."
yeah.
And I guess
That's
that's what I would say about this movie is if you want to just like if you want to escape, don't watch this movie. If you want to take a hard look at your life, then watch this movie.
yeah,
And it'll get you thinking. I promise you'll like flash back to times in your past. Um and just like think like, yeah, I was an asshole. I was a cringy piece of shit in
yeah.
8th grade. Like, and okay, so let's talk about the character a bit more. The main character is named Kayla, and
Kayla
she's
Day,
like,
yeah.
she's interesting. There was like, I don't know what my opinion on her is. Like, I don't know if I like her or not. Like, I think she's nice and she's
I
like
think she
kind of
wants to
cute.
know if you like her or not.
Yeah, I know, but like, I'm just like, because like it's different when you're like a character in the movie and you don't know this chick and you're like judging her, and I think
Yeah,
people like kind of judged her a bit. But like when you're us and you're looking at her, judging her is
yeah.
completely different, right? Because you
Well,
know
I feel
exactly
like
what
this
she's
is just
thinking.
someone in my class. Like, just especially in 8th grade, it's just kind of a good archetype of the awkward, like, social outcast who's probably dealing with their own things. It's and I thought as a character, like what she goes through, whether it be with like the anxiety or stuff like that, I thought that was really well demonstrated, and it made her interesting. When Bo was doing press for this, I forget which, it might have been like Jimmy Kimmel, but uh, he was talking about the inspiration for the character, and he's like, "Oh, I always just go on YouTube and I try to find videos that no one's seen."
Oh
And
yeah,
so I was looking for young teenage boys and young teenage girls, and I saw the young teenage boys only talked about Fortnite, while like the young teenage girls were always pouring their souls out. So I'm like, it had to be a girl, and so
yeah,
I think that idea for the character is really interesting, and it's I like the idea of the YouTube page, and I think there's 5 messages throughout the movie that like carry through, and just she, I liked the idea of she is trying to project that she has these emotions locked down when the party scene where she's talking about confidence.
oh yeah,
Um, like she's going in and she's selling like, "Oh, I'm a confident person. Here's how you be confident." Well, it's very clear from the visuals, not the audio, that that's not the case at all. Which I think that juxtaposition in the way that she like describes herself and the way she wants to be seen versus how she actually is I think an interesting play on the idea of like social media.
yeah. And I actually thought of it as kind of like I related to that aspect of it a lot. Like you're always trying to like do new things and not be anxious, and it's like harder to like it's easier to like say in your head, okay, this is what I need to do to stop that, but then it's harder to like actually do it.
Yeah.
But it also kind of reminded me of like the entire theme of Bo's song Art is Dead, where he's like talking about like, oh, like artists, like we're so self-obsessed, we think we deserve all this attention, and like isn't that like kind of a bad thing, and you know what's up with that.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought that like that was also accurately portrayed in the character, where she's like, oh, I have this authority, and she's like full of herself in the sense that she believes that she has a message that's worth saying, but at the same time she's also like super insecure in like public settings.
Yeah.
To me that was really really relatable, and the whole time I was thinking like, man, she's kind of like, she's actually kind of full of herself, but she thinks she also hates herself, which is a really weird thing that I feel like I've had that happen, where I'm like, yeah, no, everything I do is super cool, but I'm also like super shy, you know?
Yeah. If you take the end of Make Happy, which I think is by far his best special, I think if you look at the three, I think they all have something to say, but I think Make Happy just, it's less, yeah, there's comedy, but it's more about just self-expression, which I think is a neat theme. But at the end of Make Happy, he goes right before his Kanye rant, just kind of about, he talks about social media, and just kind of about like self-expression, and that, or what's the line? I had a privileged life and I got lucky and I'm unhappy. And he's talking about how like nobody cares what you think, which is, and not like in a mean way, just like in a realistic way, through social media, which I thought all of those ideas were carried into this movie quite a bit.
Yeah, I thought they were like kind of like the undertones of the movie. Like everything from the other specials is like an undertone in the movie. So if you've heard or seen them, you'll definitely pick that up. And but if you haven't, you still would maybe.
I think the most enjoyable way to go see Eighth Grade is, it's a great movie regardless. But I would say, do check out Make Happy. It's on Netflix. Because it's a comedy show, but it's more of a performance, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Like just every idea, it's very artsy, but not in a pretentious way. Just like in
a fun way. It's like it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like an interesting thing to watch.
It's fun, but it's also like, oh, okay, it's introspective maybe. And I think that Eighth Grade kind of supplements some ideas, says some new ideas, and I think Bo's voice is a really interesting one, and I wonder what he's going to do next, because I don't know how, you don't make a sequel to this, obviously. I don't think. Ninth grade, yeah. But and he's retired from comedy, so I don't know what he's going to do. It's interesting though.
It sounds like he wants to do more movies, like based on the interviews, like on the H3 podcast.
Yeah.
Everything he'd be like, oh, this would be a good movie. This would be a good movie. I think he just wants to do more movies, which I think is good.
Yeah. No, he's extremely
Except,
talented.
you know what I really want? I want the Make Happy CD.
Yeah.
You know, where is
that?
That's something
I think it has something to do with the Netflix deal.
Oh, maybe that would make sense.
Because What was... He made it really clear that he wanted What to be released on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they also put it on Netflix, and so I think the CD was more in his control, but I think Make Happy was...
That makes sense.
I'm going to go on Spotify just to see if it's actually
it's not.
Yeah. It seems so weird that it's... Yeah. I definitely have downloaded those songs on YouTube, but...
Yeah, like that's the only option, you know?
Yeah.
You can't... There's no other way.
I've also seen it on Netflix about 80,000 times. I've supported them.
That's
okay.
The only two ways to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, yeah, so there was a scene towards the end. This is where I'm tying it back to the connection deal, where like she just has like a real talk with her dad.
Yeah.
And like just actually communicates with him.
Yeah.
And in that scene, I think like it's representative of like how this whole time like the dad's trying to connect with her, but she's not actually communicating with him. So he's just trying to guess what's going on, and that's why like there are issues, you know?
Yeah.
So like the best way to actually like you're like, you don't understand me, Mom. But then like talk to your mom or your dad, and maybe then they'll understand you.
I think sometimes the association of like teenage angst is like it's the emo kid, but like there's a bit of angst in everybody, and like
Yeah,
some of
there's
it's
like
just
different
because
types.
yeah, they feel like they're not related to, which is kind of the idea or why this movie almost got made to be able to once again relate to this generation. And I think that the idea of relatability is kind of the theme that goes throughout the whole movie, and that really it gets hit on the head when during that campfire scene, and just her conversation with her dad, because the dad is kind of played off comedically throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, he's definitely
Like
the relief.
he's mostly the butt of the joke, um, and I think grounding both of their characters with that, Kayla's grounded, but I think grounding the father a lot more in there was really interesting, and the ideas that all hits is really well done.
Yeah, I definitely I think my favorite part of the movie is the everything with the dad.
Oh yeah, the whole movie's great.
Yeah, but
I was
like
try-
the dad stuff just by far is my
I
favorite.
was trying to think of some negatives. The only one I could think of, and maybe it's just an experience I never really had, but the whole dinner table scene at the beginning of like her like blasting music while they're eating dinner. Just I've never really experienced that. It seemed like a
Oh,
little bit too on the nose for me.
I feel like
Um,
that was a an accurate scene.
okay,
It maybe not me, but I've seen that in my brother. That's
okay.
happened to my brother for sure. Like I just yeah, I'm surprised that that has never happened to you actually, because like that was just like wow. I was like damn, like
Yeah.
that, how
Well,
does he know about that?
yeah. Maybe it's a different like family meals are always a pretty big deal where or how I grew up. So
Oh, so
maybe
like it's a big deal to you also.
yeah,
Okay, yeah. See,
yeah. So I
okay, I
guess
see what
I'm
you're
more
saying.
the dad there, but
I think it's like I think in some instances it's like where for people it's not like a big deal, but it's like kind of casual. You know,
mhm,
that's where that happens.
yeah, yeah,
I thought
exactly.
that was
Because
funny
I thought it was
though.
just a little bit like overemphasized.
Oh yeah, okay, maybe it was like a little long.
Yeah.
I feel like
Um.
it was a little long actually.
Uh. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Other than that, though, the movie's freaking great.
Like if we're gonna yeah,
But
it's hard to
that is
find
such a
flaws just because of like the way it is, and like most of the flaws I can even think of are like easily forgiven ones.
yeah.
Because it's like an indie film. It's not like something like a comedy or like a studio drama or something like that. Like it's just like an indie film. So
Yeah.
like maybe certain sequences like run a little long. I'd say that's maybe the only real gripe.
Yeah.
And like it's not like there's like a central conflict that like gets resolved. It's just sort of like what happens in this transition and what is the transition.
Yeah.
So
The
it
whole movie
can
takes place over like a week.
yeah, and it can often feel kind of like aimless, like you don't know where it's going. But
Yeah.
like I said, like those are easily forgiven because like it makes points along the way, and it's like supposed to be like that. It's intentionally like that, and it
Yeah.
works for what it is.
I also I loved the high school stuff. The mentorship idea.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to talk about that actually like next,
Oh,
which
perfect.
is a like a I don't know if that's a is that like a thing? Like I
I
didn't think that
I
was a thing.
so for where we went to school, the only thing I could think of when they ever bring middle schoolers up is like we there's a huge project you do as a sophomore called the personal project,
Hmm.
and it's supposed to be like this culmination of everything you've done for the past 5 years. Everybody BS's it, but
Yeah.
the middle schoolers kind of take it as a time to to I think it's a group of eighth graders, and they all go up to just kind of like see and meet the sophomores, see what they did. And that's the only like experience I can think of from my upbringing of like eighth graders coming to high school. But I liked the idea of her really trying to fit in, and I really liked I forget her name. Hold on, was it Olivia? Does that sound right?
Yeah, it was Olivia, her
Okay,
friend.
yeah. Like the girl was honestly like she had like great intentions for the character and or for Kayla, and like she was really looking out for her, which I thought was noble, and it, Kayla starts to think of this character as like a big sister, which I thought that was well done.
Okay, yeah. I actually want to touch on that in a second, but
Okay.
before that, I want to go back to like the mentorship thing. I was in this thing in 8th grade that was like the same thing, but for middle schoolers, or like for elementary schoolers coming into middle school.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was like, I just remembered that. Like I hadn't even thought about that in a
I
while.
can't.
And it was like,
I don't
yeah,
think
like
I
they
was
would
in anything
like
like that.
have elementary schoolers come and we would like talk to them and stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh,
And
well,
it was like a weekly thing.
I remember in
I
in
don't know
high
what it's
school,
called.
we or in middle school, high schoolers would like come talk at assemblies, but like we'd never go to the high school.
Yeah, yeah. I've had that too.
Yeah, like selling KRAM or stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I think is weird about that though, is like I think the transition from elementary school to middle school is pretty like crazy, because in elementary school, like literally even in 5th grade, you have to walk in a line,
Yeah.
in the hall. But then like from 8th grade to 9th grade, to me personally, I don't know if other people had this issue. It's like it's just like people are saying it's a huge change, and that's why you see it as a huge change. But to me, it was just like, okay, I'm going to the next year of school. It's just in a different building.
I think elementary to middle school has a very like systematic difference. Like, oh, you now
exactly.
have class periods. You don't have classes with the same kids anymore. Stuff like that. Where I think high school, the bigger changes come socially, just like interests, hormones, all that stuff.
Yeah. But I feel like it's gradual. Like it's not like the one day, bam, you're like in this new system. It's like maybe over the first year that dynamic changes.
Yeah, I think,
and that's not what these
ninth
mentors are
grade
like talking about.
Is a pretty gradual shift. Yeah.
But it also makes me think, like, are middle schools like really structured the best way for kids going through what they go through in middle school?
I wonder.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, cause like you see in the movie how she has like, this is something I don't relate to, but I see why people have this issue. It's like she has trouble like making friends, and like they all become like really cliquey and stuff.
Yeah.
And so like maybe wouldn't it be better if kids in middle school were consistently in the same class, so that it would be like easier for them to make friends? Because like kids in middle school, like you get like sort of anxiety about things that you shouldn't be anxious about,
Yeah.
Like she was like cool. Like I could talk to that girl for a while. Like she wasn't like terrible, but she was like, she didn't think that anything she had to say was worth saying in class, which ties back to the whole like on social media thing. But so it's like, I don't know, maybe we need to take a look at that system, because maybe it's not ideal. Like if I was like to become a teacher or something, and someone was like, what grades wouldn't you want to teach? I would be like, I don't want to teach middle school ever in my life. Like honestly, those teachers are like probably the hardest working teachers. They have to be.
Honestly, yeah.
Because I can't imagine
anything outside high school.
I don't remember who it was, but I was talking to one teacher who like in the middle school, and he was like, yeah, I'll teach 6th grade and I'll teach 8th grade, but I will not teach 7th grade. 7th grade is hell. That's what he said.
Awful.
For me, 7th grade was probably my best year of middle school. I thought 8th grade was worse.
You were the first person I've ever heard say that.
Yeah, I know that everyone always tells me that. Like,
dude,
I made a lot of friends in 7th grade. That's what it was. Like, I just made some of my closest friends in 7th grade, so that's why. And then I actually made a lot of close ones in 8th grade too.
Yes, that was me. I made all my like really close friends in 8th grade. Yeah, if Bo Burnham made a movie about me, it'd be called 7th grade. Because it feels a lot like, once again, relatability. It feels a lot like this movie, just for me, it was a year earlier.
Yeah, I think, it's just so weird, like how many of these things are like universal, and you know what I think is weird is like there's like these like popular chicks who like she's like trying to be nice to and stuff, and this made me laugh a lot. Like that one girl whose like party she goes to. And she's just like the worst, like she's just the worst. She's like the mean girls and Mean Girl.
Oh my god, yeah.
But like, I bet if that girl watched the movie, she wouldn't relate to that girl, because she wouldn't think she was that girl.
Absolutely.
She would relate to Kayla more, which is what I think is weird.
And the thing about this movie is that, once again, relatability. But every single character, you can go, I know that kid.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're just and like you think of 6 names of, oh my god, that is that guy or that girl. I didn't find that as much with the high schoolers, and maybe that's just the way it was written. But I found like each of the middle schoolers and like the things they say or the way like they lie, or especially Gabe. I was Gabe.
I was Gabe too.
Yeah,
I would say that.
God, I love Gabe. But I think all of the kids, you're like, okay, I know these 4 people who all make up this kid, which I think this does a great job at really representing what it's like to grow up in this day and age, and just in general.
I actually disagree with the high schooler thing. I think that they were also accurate. Like, there's that one guy who just constantly just said controversial shit. You know?
Yeah.
Like, he would just say something, and then they'd be like, oh my god, what the heck? And he'd be like, it's true. And you're like, dude, no, it's not. Like, I know that I feel like I've at some point...
also been me.
yeah, I've at some point been that guy. But I also have seen, like, more, like...
Yeah.
People who are more leaning towards being that guy. I've definitely seen that. There's the most uncomfortable scene in the movie that comes out of that.
Oh, God,
where that one kid like tries to like hook up with her.
Yeah.
And he's in high school. He's like were they seniors? I didn't really pick up on that.
They were juniors.
Okay, well, yeah, like it was really weird because it was like this kid is like he's a junior, and okay, this scene is like super dark in how real it is. Okay, because like this dude like comes onto her and makes her uncomfortable, and he's the asshole.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, she goes, "Don't tell Olivia about this." She says it as if it's like she's the one who's going to come off as like the asshole in the situation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, tell Olivia about it because he's a dick and he should get the repercussions. But that's just the reality of the situation. You know, that's just what happens. Which is why, like, that really messed me up.
That whole scene, like, you're just hoping it stops, and thank God it does.
It oh my God, it was awful.
Yeah.
And like,
and not like awful, and like it was really well done.
Oh yeah, it was good, but it hurt me. It thoroughly actually hurt me.
Yeah.
And it was just like I have questions about that guy. Like, well, who is he, and why is he trying to hook up with 8th graders? Like, that's just weird, bro. You need to see a therapist or something at that point. Like, that's weird.
Yeah.
That dude is weird. Like, I don't like that guy. What a piece of shit.
Yeah, there you go. See, the relatability. I never hung out with a kid like that. So.
Oh, yeah, no. But I imagine there are definitely people like that.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Like, that's just so weird to me. And I thought Olivia actually maybe she's the one who I feel like I don't know if there was anyone like that, you know?
You never,
like, because I just don't think anyone's that nice.
Yeah.
Like, no one's like, you know, this 8th grade girl, like, no one's like that properly adjusted enough to like look at this 8th grade girl and be like, oh, I understand what she's going through. Like, she was like really well mentally like adjusted. That was like the problem. I was like, no high schoolers that mentally adjusted. Like, this girl would definitely annoy her. Yeah. But maybe that's just me. Like, then that makes me think like maybe I'm just like I'm like Kayla in that instance where I just think that it would annoy someone if I did that, and maybe it wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what just like my friends would do if I brought just a random girl over to hang out with us to a movie or something, or like a random 8th grader.
You know, I think in that instance it would be fine. What I'm saying is like, first of all, who would do that? And like, who would be so chill? Like, yeah, just call me anytime type of chill. Yeah. Like, I think if like an 8th grader like called me and like wanted my advice, like I think I would give them advice, you know. But like if they called me and didn't text me, I'd be like, why'd you call me? Just text me. Like that's what I thought when she called her. I was like, why'd you call her? Just text her.
That's the biggest inconsistency in this movie. Like, no one calls anybody anymore.
Yeah, that was what was funny. Like,
we
to me,
say on a phone call.
I don't think it was inconsistent. I think it was like in keeping with her character. Like, she just like doesn't have that sensibility. Yeah. I also thought something that was really funny, speaking of like the messaging, was that how everybody was messaging each other on Instagram, and I think that's like something that has come of the younger generation compared to me, and like because I would never when I was growing up, Instagram didn't have messaging, right? Yeah. But like I guess people really use it a lot. I barely use Instagram messaging, but like people are always talking to me like, yeah, like sliding into DMs is like a real thing. Like I thought that was just like a joke. Like, that wasn't something someone actually did.
Yeah, I've always just used like Instagram messaging and like Twitter messaging to like send like funny tweets.
Yeah, post on the site. That's the only thing I use it for too.
Yeah, I think
I don't have conversations.
Snapchat is the only one that I'll just like if I just don't have their phone number, I'll go straight to Snapchat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is weird because then you have to get their Snapchat, but like Instagram, I guess you don't have to. I guess that's like the logic behind it.
Nobody asks questions about how everybody gets each other's Snapchats though. Like they're just like,
well,
oh, I know the name. Okay.
Usually it's like because now it has like suggested friends. I think that's how I've added a lot of people who I know, and I just have never asked them for their Snapchat.
Exactly,
you know? Yeah, like it's weird. It's I just didn't think that was like a huge thing, but I guess even in middle schools, people are DMing each other, so that's funny to me.
Yeah, I guess.
And it's funny because like for us, like for me, it was Facebook. Like that was when Facebook was big, in all that stuff. You know, like in like you message people on Facebook, but like now nobody messages anyone on Facebook. Like that, like unless you know them and you talk to them on Facebook. That's just something that's funny to me. And it's funny because it's almost like Facebook did it to themselves. Because they added the feature into Instagram, and then people stopped using Facebook to message people.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Which is weird because I genuinely think that Facebook Messenger is like actually probably the best like messenger out there. Like it has all these cool features and stuff. Like you can play games, you can do everything on there.
I guess I go where my friends are, so that's either.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I do too. But like logically, Facebook is actually probably the best one.
Yeah, I barely put anything on my Facebook anymore.
Yeah, no, I have to like think about it. Like I have to be like, oh right, I gotta post this on Facebook now. Because I always like just tweet it or snap it or Instagram it, and then I'm like, wait, this should probably also go on Facebook. Which actually is kind of weird because I feel like I actually get more engagement on Facebook than anywhere else.
Yeah, well, what's nice is I always use Facebook to like share like whatever projects I'm filming or stuff like that, and like my family's always like, "Oh, it looks great," but like
exactly.
On like other social media, it's like, "Oh, okay, cool, you made a thing. That's great."
Yeah, exactly. It's like
that whole self-expression thing.
Like whatever, screw you.
Yeah,
I think that's like a funny thing too. Is that everyone's like, yeah, you know, express yourself, and then you like do it, and sometimes they're just like, oh, I just meant for you to like do it. I'm not gonna look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just want you to do it. You know? Yeah. And I think I do think that
theme of not eighth grade, of make happy.
Yeah, and I think that you should, like, even if people aren't watching, you should still express yourself.
Yeah.
But like, it's just like a funny idea to me that it's like everyone's like, yeah, express yourself, but I'm not gonna look at what you express. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
And that's like what happens to the girl in the movie. That's why I'm mentioning this. And that's why I kind of admired her like tenacity. Like she was like still putting those videos out. And I was sad when she stopped doing it because I was like, no, but you had like the willpower.
Yeah, no, that's what you need. I mean, even I used to have a series of Minecraft Let's Plays in 7th grade. They're all private on YouTube now. I'm thinking of a fun way to bring them back, but like nobody watched them. But I always just kind of did it to practice editing or practice filming or practice just talking on a mic, just trying to be comfortable online. And I think that's a good modern skill for people to have. Like, what's the most common stigma of just people being afraid to hear their voice on a recording?
Oh yeah, actually, okay, yeah, that's like something I could talk about for a bit. Like, I don't have that anymore because I've been doing this for so long.
I've lost that entirely.
Yeah, but like, I had a friend and he was like, we were like doing karaoke, and he like heard his voice come out of the thing, and he was like, "Something's wrong with this," and I'm like, "No, that's how you sound." He was like, "Damn it!" Like, and I was like, and I was like, "Man, like I literally just don't have that anymore." And I do remember having it, but I lost that a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't know when, so it just went away. Just like, you know, if you have that issue, just keep listening to yourself and
yeah, absolutely.
It goes away. I just think I sound the same now, like in both instances, which is weird. But speaking of the Minecraft thing, two things. I've noticed that that's the thing that like kids coming up have been doing who are
Yeah,
interested in editing and stuff, and I'm all for that. And Minecraft is good too because it's it's like two layers of creativity because you're doing the
exactly.
Minecraft and then you're
Yeah.
also doing the thing. Second thing, I actually recently started playing Minecraft again,
Oh boy.
and it's been a while.
You want
Okay,
to say that on the internet?
yeah, I want to say it because it's a fun game. Okay, I
All
forgot
right.
how fun it was. Like I probably haven't played like sat down and played it in years, and I don't know half the shit that's in the game now. And
You
I
know,
used to be pretty
I haven't.
hardcore. Like I used to keep track of all the updates, and now I have no clue what's going on. And I'm just doing. I'm like, you know what it's like? It's like I'm like an old man, like using like notebooks and shit, and like like just using shit that old people use.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And if I like play with like a kid, like they would be like, oh, you don't know about this new thing, and I'm like, no, like I don't know how to make half the stuff in the game anymore. I just know the shit I used to know, and I'm like, I refuse to learn the new shit.
Yeah.
I'm just like sticking with it.
I'm actually, between you and me, I'm on the website right now seeing if I still have my old account. Because I was so young when I got it.
Yeah, I know. I was like I was
Yeah.
in middle school when I got Minecraft.
Yeah, I'd be willing to go back to it. That'd be kind of
And
fun.
I used to play it like this is funny like cuz like Fortnite is like the new Minecraft I guess for middle
Oh,
schoolers.
yeah.
But like for during my time, it was Minecraft and that's the game I've probably put the most hours into in my life cuz I don't put that many hours into video games. But also like yeah, like the other day I played Minecraft online with a friend and we played for like 2 hours and I didn't even realize it was that long and it was so fun. I
Yeah.
thoroughly forgot how fun that game was. I'm trying to bring it back.
Yeah, dude, no. We could do a Minecraft Let's Play again.
Yeah,
Like
I
a
would be
Twitch
down.
stream.
I
Dude,
would be down because
I'll
it's
do
a,
it.
and it'll be interesting because like I said, like it'll be like so detached from what's in the game, and
Yeah.
actually like to the degree that I want to play with shaders, because shaders make the game look
Yeah.
real nice.
Well, whenever I used to play, it was on my mom's laptop that like I got 15 minutes on, and then
Yeah, same.
it's this Windows Vista $300 Best Buy laptop, and I get like 12 frames.
Yeah, I know. I
didn't
got
care.
garbage
Now I've
frames
got
when
a
I used to play.
or a beefy PC for it.
So this is like another example of how I'm like an old man with this. Is like I used to like mod it and stuff every time there's a new update. Now I have no clue how to do that. So I
Yeah.
learned how to mod a version 2 versions ago so that I could have
Wow.
the better graphics, right? And it has updated twice and I'm just playing on the old version because I don't want to like learn how to do the modding again.
Yeah.
So what I will do is if we play online, we're gonna play on that. So I'll send you that like file,
Dude,
so
sounds
you
good.
don't have to worry about it because it's just like too much for me. Like it's too much for me, and it kind of makes me sad because in middle school I was like, nah, I'm never gonna be that guy. I'm always gonna know how to mod Minecraft.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad. I understand like how like my parents feel about technology because of Minecraft,
Yes.
just because of that one thing. Anyway, we veered off topic a little bit, but I thought that was a fun discussion.
Yeah,
about
totally.
Minecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like yeah, I want to just rate the movie real quick so I don't forget to do that.
Okay.
I think I would give it four
what's your
stars.
4 stars? You're a star guy.
Yeah.
I'll go four
I
and
mean,
a
you
half.
can say whatever you like.
I'm gonna like the thing is normally I have a hard time giving 10 out of 10s, but if I can't like specifically point out a weakness to the movie, like there's nothing I found dull. My thing is maybe it's just not for everyone. Like I don't think every adult will totally get this, which is kind of the demographic with the R rating.
Oh yeah, my
Um,
parents would just like not get it.
Yeah,
I'm sure of it. I'm
but
not
I
gonna show it
think
to them.
in terms of like once again, this will sound a little pretentious, but as an art piece, as a thing of self-expression, as a thing of like a time capsule of this generation, I think this movie is flawless. I mean, that dinner scene was the only thing I could come up with, but then that's also just because I never really had that experience. I think if you're a Bo Burnham fan, check it out. If you are a kid who's comfortable with seeing an R-rated movie, which, by the way, the R-ratedness of this movie is not terrible. Like it's
Yeah, no, it's
a
just
couple
exactly
F-bombs,
what happens.
and it's just some thematic things, like with the sexual assault or the creepiness scene.
Yeah.
But I think other than that, it's not too awkward of a watch. I think it's a great time, like a, it's a very good period piece almost of just the modern generation, which is cool. And yeah, I think Bo Burnham is insanely talented. I think Elsie Fisher's insanely talented. I'm excited to see what both of them do next. And yeah, that's kind of what I got. I'll go 4.5 stars.
Yeah, I'm sticking with 4. Here's my deal with that is like I don't even do halves ever.
Okay.
So like I just like because otherwise I'd be like
then
it's
you,
like
then you know
4.215. You know, like that's what I would do. Sorry, what'd you say?
I'll go 5 stars just to make it
different.
Yeah.
It's just that it's like for me it's just that like it doesn't have rewatchability. That's the one thing. That's the one thing that often gets me to 4 stars versus 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I really care about rewatchability.
Yeah. See, my big thing is I like to review it as the first time seeing it. Like, how are you going to feel?
And here's the thing is like I always like there's always like the part of me that's really conflicted that's like looking at it like versus what my personal opinion is versus what like it objectively is.
Yeah.
Like to me objectively I would maybe give it 5 stars, but for me personally it's 4, which is why I'm saying 4. Because like if everybody was rating things objectively, what's the point of getting different,
exactly.
Voices? So yeah, like that's why I would say like as a quality movie, super high quality, but for me personally, no rewatchability puts me at 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. I'm trying to think of any final thoughts I have for it. Kind of summed it up, but it's really relatable. It's really heartfelt. It's grounded, but not in like a dark, gritty way. Like it's just it feels real, and it's really well done.
Yeah, it's also a change of pace. If you're getting sort of like tired of the same old stuff, it's something that's really fresh and new.
Yeah,
a lot of in-depth stuff about it, like just the way it was made, everything about that.
It's a completely different kind of movie, but a movie I've been kind of comparing it to in my head is Get Out. Just because it's a comedian turned somewhat dramatic actor, or director, sorry, and just making a passion project, and I think it has a lot of the same. I don't even know how to compare them exactly, but just the storylines of both the directors I think is very similar. Just Bo Burnham and Jordan Peele's like directorial debut, and I think they're both awesome. And yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Blumhouse and like A24 are like doing this because like,
oh my god, yeah.
Jonah Hill is also doing one with A24.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, so I think that's like a really interesting thing to do. Just to sort of let someone direct.
I think the future of Hollywood once, if the superhero craze dies out, but that's a conversation for another day. But I think the future is get these passionate ideas funded for like $5 million. If they fail, who cares? It's only like, I think make these passion projects, make them cheap, and then if you make money, great. If you don't, it's not a huge loss.
Yeah, exactly. That's always the goal. You always want to make it something for cheap.
But like, I don't think Disney would ever make a Get Out or an Eighth Grade. I don't. Think.
Oh yeah, no.
And maybe with Fox that'll change, but I think if you want to start up a successful production company, I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah, probably that's probably true. Like,
I'm 18. I don't own a company, so
my thing is like if it was me and I was running a company and I had as much money as Disney did, I also wouldn't make Get Out or Eighth Grade. That's also something I wouldn't do.
You just don't need to. But
yeah, you just don't need to.
I'm so happy movies like this exist and get recognized. I hope Eighth Grade does really well this weekend. I'm trying to look through the box office numbers from Thursday. It opened at 11, or it didn't open, but in its limited market of I think 18 screens, it made 184,000, which is really strong. So I hope this does well this weekend.
And I also hope there's some like Oscar buzz.
Yeah,
that also is in consideration.
I wonder what it would be nominated for.
Screenplay, I think.
Yeah, I think screenplay is where I see this landing, and maybe director. Yeah, we'll have to see. It'll be interesting.
We'll see. Okay, well, yeah, sweet. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for listening, and thank you to Lee for being on here.
Yeah, no problem.
Anyway, if you enjoyed this, please share it. Hit that like button if you're watching on iTunes, or listening on iTunes, then I guess you can't really do anything. But tune in next time. Okay, well, anyway, we're out. See you later.
See you guys.